I just want to say something really quickly. I think that there's one thing that we've forgotten. There's so much talent, knowledge around this table and around this room that I actually feel it. But we had a young girl that just sat here called Venetia, who's gone to the back, and she talked about just making a difference. Now, making a difference means about education. When you educate someone, you also empower them. We don't have enough black role models. Yeah, regardless of whether you are gay, straight, heterosexual, intersex, whatever, you need to make sure we make that difference by education and awareness. So I know myself, I will take this back and I will go back to the trade unions and see how we can continue dialogues and debates like this and try and see if we can seek some funding, because that's what's important. But let's not forget our youngsters, because we need to educate them, because I'm not going to be around forever. We need to make sure that we have... No. Okay, I wasn't looking for sympathy. No, we're not going to be around forever. I'm a grandmother now. Yes, I'm looking for... Wow, she looks good. You know, we have to make sure we give that information and pass it on. Peter, you just spoke so eloquently about so much that's happened with the apartheid, but I guarantee you there's some people in this room that don't know that history. Now, if we don't pass on that knowledge, then how on earth can we continue to make a difference? Because we might fight for something and it will change and we'll get what we want, but it doesn't mean that the fight stops there. We've got to continue it. So I think that we should just think about one thing that we want to take away with what we've learned from here and make that difference.
One of the things that struck me as a black gay woman was that there's not much of an issue about gender, and gender from the point of a black woman. For me, there are lots of issues, and there hasn't been much discourse about the triple barriers that many of us are facing. We can't talk about sexuality, for me, without looking at our education system and how we are, as young black people, underachieving daily in the education system. We don't have fair access to employment. All of these issues are tantamount to inequality. And for me, being a gay black woman who's gone back to study herself, her identity, and how she wants to aspire to empower other gay black women, that is a discourse for me that needs to happen. And I'm looking for solutions. I'm looking for people that have any suggestions about how we could go about doing this. Just to add to Phil, there are not enough role models. I need to see black sisters out there, gay black sisters, who are willing to have this discourse with me and pass it on to our sisters. We need equality now.
Good evening everyone. So I was, I decided to come up because I've been having like lots of kind of like internal reactions kind of like bubbling underneath. So I just wanted to kind of share a few of my thoughts and like a few of my things related to like my identity and also with you. My name's Kachenga. I'm half Jamaican and half Zimbabwean, and thank you. But both me and my sister, I have one sister, both of us have commented that being raised in a household with a Caribbean and an African parent gives you a very diasporic view of your black identity, which is beneficial. And when I'm reflecting on my childhood, I was raised in a Pan-Africanist household, but my parents strongly believe in political unification and solidarity among African people. But nevertheless, because I was abused as a child, and also because of the negative imagery and messages that I received from people around me, I developed a self-hate of my skin, of my African identity. And there's a nervousness that I have when sharing this with black people, because I feel, even though like, I made a decision and came to a realization how awful it was that I was made to feel that way, I feel like that within black communities, we also have to account for the fact that I'm not the only person to have experienced that, and that I feel the product of racism, of homophobia, it can often be a very intense self-hate, which results in people destroying their own lives. So for that reason, I think when we come together in spaces where we have this dialogue and where we are sharing and things, I think I feel there are issues of hate that's shared socially. And I've experienced that in clubs in various other social spaces. So I think when we come together in spaces like this, which is often too rare, where there has to be like a strong emphasis on healing from the legacy of slavery and colonialism, and analysing. And analysing on a myriad of levels, because it does run very deep, and we obviously are not out of the mire. But I just wanted to quickly brush over my parental differences to my sexuality as gay male. My mum's Jamaican, of the Windrush generation, very much a committed Christian, whereas my father's Zimbabwean, left Africa in the 70s, and he's an atheist. Now, they both met in Brixton, working on anti-racist campaigns, a particular one called the Scrap Sus campaign, which I don't even know about. But what I found quite interesting is that there's certain stereotypes that we have based on people's identity. So I've somewhat expected my mother to have more of a moral distaste for my sexuality than my dad did. Surprisingly, it's transpired that in the 7 years since I've come out, my mum's now completely on side. Like a very utter, very unconditional love, recognising me as a very much a human. Whereas my dad, even with all of the intellectual kind of ramblings he'll have on it, he feels a lot more hurt, a lot more betrayed, and there's a certain futility to discussing sexuality with him in spite of his atheism. And so, like, even though that's quite sad that I've lost a relationship with my father, I think it's also something quite revealing in that, in the sense that there's also immense hope, because which we'd expect to find in people, that can be transgressed, in spite of our histories and things. Also, yeah, just to quickly finish off, I just wanted to talk about the state of the gay scene now, and where we are, because I feel like there's been a lot of I had a mention about the propensity of like sexual imagery in relation to like gay peoples and stuff, and I think in modern time I feel like it is important that we do have the opportunity to celebrate our sexuality and everything, and I think particularly for like pride events we forget how important it is that we have that visibility, particularly for our generation. But I think like in the dialogue that we have within LGBTI communities, I feel there should be less kind of sexual judgment, and that there should be like more kind of less of an argument about the morality of our own sexuality. Like, at the end of the day, we're all gonna have sex, like, you know what I mean? Like, or for the most part, like, I feel. But yeah, on that subject, I feel that we do need to, calm down a little bit. But and lastly, I just want to finish off again on education and where we are going as gay Africans, as gay people, etc. I have a huge love for literature. I very much want to be a writer, and I think the reason that I'm so motivated to become a writer is because in art I feel you have something so tangible to leave behind as a legacy, and I feel like there's also there can be something so socially transformative about art, and I think going into to stimulate the dialogues and debates that we want to have about issues surrounding gay Africa, art, I feel, has a really, really important part to play in that. So I think I would encourage anyone to kind of, everyone here, sorry, to nurture their creative spirits and to ensure that your voice, that your memories, that everything is recorded, and that we leave something behind, and that hopefully not only can we those words and thoughts and ideas we have now change people now, but we'll also leave something for the future for people to look back on the lives that we recorded.